So as far as I know, the difference between UFC and maybe some of these other leagues, the MLB, NHL, whatever, is that they don't have a players union or a fighters union or whatever. They don't have a collective bargaining agreement. Is that right?
Yeah, so there's been talks about one. There's been certain fighters that have been trying to push for a union and stuff like that. Francis Ngannou as well, when he was doing his negotiations with the UFC and later PFL, he had talked about some things like that, to have like fighter representatives and things like that, which essentially leads towards a union. The only thing that I would say that there is, that's pretty cool, that just started in, I think it was January of this year, or maybe whatever it was. There's a MMA pension. Did you know that? And it's in California, in
I did
your home
not.
state. No, you didn't
Oh, that's
know?
great. Yeah. No,
Okay.
no, I didn't.
And what's crazy is, so we had on our podcast, we had on Assembly member Matt Haney. He's from San Francisco. He's the assembly member that tabled the bill and wrote the bill, and it passed on its first reading. Uh, Republicans and Democrats, they all got together. They all supported this, which was incredible. So right now there's an MMA pension in California. It's for anybody around the world. All you have to do is compete in, I think it's 34 rounds, scheduled rounds in MMA in the state of California, sanctioned by the Nevada State, or by the California Athletic Commission, California State Athletic Commission, CSAC,
Hmm.
and you get a pension, which
Oh,
is
wow.
crazy, because like that shows California. So kudos to you and your happy brothers out there. But it shows the support that California has for the sport of MMA. And the idea is that it will encourage more organizations to run events in California. The pension is not run through taxpayers or anything like that. It's run through ticket sales. So the California State Athletic Commission takes, I believe it's $1 off of every ticket sold, and that feeds into a pension that they grow through, investments or whatever. And the idea
Wow.
is that once you complete those number of rounds, once you turn a certain age, you can then start collecting. And I think at the time that we had Assembly Member Matt Haney on, he said they were looking at it being, boy oh boy, now I forget, 15,000 a year or something like that,
Okay.
which is huge
Yeah.
for a sport that literally, like you said, in our lifetime was deemed cockfighting, human cockfighting, and you would never imagine that to
Hmm.
happen.
Yeah, we've
So
gone
I,
from yeah. I was gonna say, excuse me, saying we've gone from like New York not sanctioning UFC fights because of that to
right.
that's something like legitimizing it to this extent, and that's really cool to see.
Yeah, it's really crazy, and and so I mean, like again, like I love that, man. Like once I heard that that was a go, like I worked hard to get him on as a guest, and I'm so happy to have him on. Like what a great guy, and he's just a fan of the sport. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he lives out in your area, maybe. No, no, he must be a San Francisco guy, but
Not
uh,
far.
yeah, not far. But great guy, man. And he did this because of his love of the sport and wanting to help athletes, because he knows, like, hey, you invest a lot of your time as a professional mixed martial artist, where you can't be growing like your career as an accountant. You know what I mean? So to
Hmm.
offset that, they've now generated this pension, and it's available for fighters around the world, which is so crazy. So
Yeah, that's incredible,
that's a
and it looks
fantastic
like
thing, man.
it's. I was gonna say it's not funneled through the UFC or any other league, so they don't have
Nope,
to worry about that. It goes straight through the athletic commission. So
that's right. Yeah, and
yeah,
then so the thing was, he said, at the beginning they were worried, like, okay, we're going to do this with the intent to encourage more events in their state. They of course were worried, like, wait a second, are promotions going to exit the state and go, well, wait a second, I'm not going to give you $1 for every ticket. but
uh,
he's
hmm
but he said that on the flip side, he goes, what they've been seeing is that more promotions are happy about it and actually going to run more events, because now more fighters will travel to California to fight, because they're like, wait a second, I can start banking my rounds for a pension. Get me to
yeah,
California. You know what I mean? Like, start booking more events.
yeah.
My co-host of my show is Ringside Rain Cruz. She's a cage announcer, and she actually announced at SummerSlam before.
Oh,
Uh,
very cool.
but she works for an organization out there called Up Next Fighting in California, and like they run shows constantly, and like it's amazing because you think all these local kids and these local fighters or people that are coming from outside are slowly working towards a pension. Like incredible, man, incredible. I
Hmm.
may have to get in the cage and fight somebody to get a pension. I don't know. I might do it.
Yeah, I mean that's a big deal for the smaller guys, the no-name fighters. I mean, and if
Yeah.
you're Conor McGregor or Francis Ngannou, whatever, you're not worried about a pension. But if you're kind of the grinder, just doing this, trying to
Right.
make it, then that's a big deal when you hit a
Yeah.
certain age and you just can't fight anymore.